Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Maddie and we are doing another reading vlog. I don't know how long this reading vlog is going to take me because I am in fact getting a new puppy and like 2 days from now, really technically I guess like 1 day, 2 nights, whatever. And I am so excited, but as y'all probably know that having a puppy is a lot of work. So I don't know how long it'll take me to read these books, and if it starts to take too long, like get a video up for y'all, then I will cut it back down to 2 books. But here is the plan so far. I have cheated and started 2 out of the 3 books, but I'm not very far in. So let's go ahead and talk about the books that we're going to be reading in this vlog. I don't know too much about the synopsis of any of these books, even though I have started reading 2 of them, but that's just because, like I said, I'm not very far in, so not much has happened. But let's talk about them. The first one I have finally started reading is Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I am sure you probably have heard about these books by now, but if you haven't, this is basically described as Gossip Girl, but set in London. From what I can tell so far, this is a very character-driven story, so if you're not really into that, then this might not be your vibe. But if you liked Gossip Girl, then this is definitely a book for you. And basically in this one, we're following Magnolia and BJ Valentine, I think is how you say his name, and it's dual POV, and they are not in a relationship, but they have a very toxic thing going on. So you kind of read the book and you find more and more out about that, but that's all I really have. I am on page 106. Oh, and while we're here, y'all, look, I have started making magnetic bookmarks, and these are going to be available in my Etsy shop whenever I open. Yeah, so that's kind of a little synopsis of what is happening. Honestly, so far, like, I am enjoying this book. I wouldn't be like, I'm not getting 5-star feels from it, but maybe that'll change. I know a lot of people love this book. It just feels a little slow and like there's not much happening. And then book number 2, which I have not started reading yet, but it is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and I don't know anything about this book. I don't want to know anything about this book. All I know is that it's part of an interconnected standalone series. So we have Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and then Just for the Summer just came out. I think these are interconnected standalones with those 3. If not, I didn't have to buy this one, but I think this is the first one out of those 3. And basically, I don't know, I've never read an Abby Jimenez book, so I'm really excited to get this one started. And both Magnolia Parks and Part of Your World is on my May TBR, so I'm excited to, you know, knock off 2 of those. So we have, you know, a romance and a rom-com. I think this is more of a rom-com than just like a regular romance. I'm not really sure. And then for our 3rd book, I am reading it on my Kindle, but it is The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. This has not been released yet. It will be released in June, but I got an ARC copy of it, which I'm very thankful for. I have had a very like weird time with Lucy Foley books. I loved The Paris Apartment. I read it a few years ago, I think back in like 2021, and I thought it was great. I flew through it, and then I tried to read the guest list by her and The Hunting Party, and I did not like them. I never finished the guest list. I didn't finish The Hunting Party either, but I might try again, like go in with like fresh eyes, you know? And I have started reading this one. I think I don't know, like 19 or 20% in. Not super far, but I am enjoying it so far. It's a little faster paced, and basically all I know is multiple POVs. I think there's been at least 4 POVs right now. They are all characters who are at this like the opening of like some manor. It's a hotel for like rich people, and there's like a waiter, the owner, and a couple other people that we've been following. And that's basically all I know, and I think it's a murder mystery, I believe. If it is, we have not gotten to that part yet. So anyways, those are the 3 books that we will be reading in this vlog, and I'm excited, but that's enough chatting. Oh, no, it's not, because I wanted to show you all my Kindle. I decorated it tonight. May is my birth month, and I have 2 stickers from my Etsy shop, this one and this one, and then I have a buy me books and call me pretty and a library card with DW on it, off to the bookshop, and romance book club. And then of course my little pop socket that I interchange out, but this one says just one more chapter. And in the back is little sprinkles, and I did it like that because, like I said, it's my birth month and I'm very excited. And now I can stop chatting. So I'm currently about like 50-ish% of the way through for Magnolia Parks, and I'm really enjoying it. I would hold it up like I like to do, but I currently have my puppy and my other dog in my lap, so it's sitting right next to me. I have been enjoying it. At first I really wasn't sure how I was feeling about it because it felt like a lot of just nothing happening except, as y'all, I'm sure y'all know, toxic relationships. So I was like, do I love this? I don't know. So far though, I am really enjoying it. I'm interested to see how the rest of the series goes because I think it could grow into something more. And about the 50% mark, it's really started to pick up compared to the first half. I felt like, I don't even want to say like I was bored, because I guess I wasn't bored because I kept wanting to read it. It felt like there was nothing happening and it was just a train wreck, but I could not look away. Like I just had to keep reading, and that's what I've done, and that's how I kind of feel through the whole thing. So we'll see how I feel at the end of it, but I know I'm going to continue on with this series, but I will give y'all another update later. I also have to give y'all my review on Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez because I did finish that one, and I did not give y'all an update halfway through because I quite literally picked it up, read 80% in one night, and then I got my new puppy, and I've just been busy, and when I finished the last 20%, I just finished it the other night, so I haven't had time to update y'all, but basically I read the whole thing in almost one sitting. So if I would have started like an hour earlier, I would have finished the whole thing in one night. So that's why I did not give y'all an update, but we'll talk about that later. So a little reading update on the Midnight Feast. I DNF'd that book because I was 30% in and felt so bored. Nothing was happening. I didn't care about any of the characters. There were so many characters and like nothing happening, and it was just too hard to keep up with, so I DNF'd it. But I have finished Yours Truly and Magnolia Parks, and later tonight I'm going to give y'all my final thoughts and opinions on all of those, and then we'll wrap up this vlog. But I just wanted to go ahead and tell y'all that I did DNF that because it just was not worth my time. I don't think I'm going to be trying any Lucy Foley books, is that her name? Am I blanking right now? Whatever. Anymore, because I've only liked one, and now I haven't wanted to finish 3 of her books, so I think they're just a waste of my time. But I feel like I've given her a fair shot, and she's just not the author for me, which is totally fine. I know some people love her books, but they're just a little too slow for me for a mystery thriller, but that's okay. I've tried, and now I know. But anyways, I will give y'all my thoughts, the rest of my thoughts later on, but I'm about to eat dinner right now because I am hungry. I'm very excited because I am finally able to discuss Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez and Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. So let's start with Magnolia Parks. I told y'all basically that this is Gossip Girl in London, and everybody that has described this was correct. I gave this a 4.5 stars. At first, I felt like it was quite slow, and I wasn't sure if I didn't really understand the hype around it. And then when I started getting probably about to 30 to 40% in, I don't know what it was about this, but I was addicted to it. Like, I don't know why, because it's very character driven. Like, there's not like plot wise a lot happening. I mean, this is basically just like rich people living their lives. But I couldn't like look away. Like, I just had to keep reading it, and I think about this a lot. I'm waiting on Daisy Hates to come in, and I cannot wait to read it. And I will say there were some things that happened in this book that I was not expecting, and that really boosted it in ratings for me. I would have been a 4-star either way, but it was 4.5 because of some of the stuff that happened. So good. I really loved it. I feel like there's not much that I can like talk about because, like I said, it's character driven, so it's kind of like you're following along Magnolia Parks and BJ Valentine, and they're just living their lives in their toxic relationship, and there's other side characters that are really fun to be around. The only thing that I didn't love is I felt like you got a bunch of characters thrown at you, and sometimes I had a hard time remembering who was who and why they were there or what their relationship was to somebody else. And there were a couple people that by the end of it I was still like, where did they come from? But still very, very good. Loved it. Can't wait to read Daisy Hates. I've heard a lot of people like Daisy Hates' story even better. The only thing that I probably could have done without in this book is Magnolia Parks has a thing for like guessing people's like what they're wearing, and she like always described what she was wearing or what somebody else was wearing, and this is just a me thing, but since I am not like rich by any means, I did not know half of what they were talking about when it came to the fashion part, when they were talking about like, oh, this is whatever the label, and I was like, I don't know what that is. So I kind of felt like that was a waste of time for me. But I mean, I got that it was like part of her character, but I still could have done it without, like, it was like every chapter, and I was like, it's just a little bit much, but that's just me. Oh, and then also there really wasn't like a ton of spice in this, but there was a lot of explicit language, and they did talk about sex a lot in this book because basically BJ is a player and sleeps like with every woman walking by. Now, let's talk about Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I really loved this book. I gave it 4 stars. I read 80% of this book in one sitting, and if I would have started like an hour earlier, I would have finished it in one sitting, but I had to go to bed because it was the day before I was picking up my puppy, and I knew that I couldn't stay up an extra hour just to finish this. So good. The reason I give it 4 stars is because these two do start their relationship from a one-night stand, and that's just not really something that like I love. Like, I like slower burn, I guess, and this is like immediate, like at least physical attraction. Not saying that it can't be physically attractive, but when it just starts out like with a sexual relationship, like that's just not really for me. That's not my thing. But basically this is about our main character Alexis and what's the guy's name? Oh, Daniel. And they meet because she breaks down in Daniel's town, and basically she's kind of like medical royalty at this hospital. Think like Meredith Grey from Grey's Anatomy, where like her family has like, but like it even spans like way like longer in generations, but Alexis' family has always had at least one, what's her last name? Oh, Montgomery. One Montgomery at this certain hospital. And so she's having to stay at this hospital because she is currently the last Montgomery that like is part of this hospital because her parents have retired. And then we have Daniel, who is basically like small town royalty, where his family has always been in this small town, and they meet because she breaks down in his small town and he helps her out, and she goes to the bar, and then they have a one-night stand. And basically they're 2 very different people, but they kind of continue on with like friends with benefits, and then obviously it's a romance, so it kind of turns into like more. And like I said, I would have loved this book if it didn't start out with like a one-night stand. If it would have been something a little different, even just like the same thing without the one-night stand, would have loved it. There was some spice in this, but it wasn't like too much. I'd probably say it's like a 2 chili peppers, maybe 2. Yeah, 2.5. I can't really remember. It's been like a week and a half since I read this, and since I skimmed those parts, sometimes I forget how much exactly it was. And it did have some explicit language, but it wasn't like too terrible. And yeah, so anyways, 4 stars. I cannot wait. I already bought Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. It's waiting for me to read. I think I will do that one in a reading vlog, but super good. I really enjoyed it. I didn't mind the 3rd act conflict. It kind of made sense because throughout the book, like the third act conflict is not a surprise of what it's going to be like when it happens. So it didn't bother me too bad. A little bit, I was kind of like, please. Actually, through the whole book, I was kind of like, please, Alexis, pull yourself together here. Be a woman. Woman up. But that's just me. Maybe not everybody felt that way, but I did. So anyways, there you go. I really loved the small town vibes of this. It was so cozy. I don't know, but I love a good small town romance. If I was in real life, I would, like, if I was to pick a setting for my own romance, it would be a small town romance. Also, there's cute animals in this book, and I really, really like that. There's a dog. I've heard that Abby Jimenez always has a dog in her books, so that's very, very cute. And yeah. And like I said, I did DNF Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley because it just was kind of boring to me, and she's not an author for me. So those are the 3 books that we read in this reading vlog. I really hope you enjoyed, guys. If you did, please subscribe and come back and hang out with me because I love having y'all here, and I will see you in my next vlog. Bye, friends.